children. In the previous session, we learned about motion and the different types of motion. We observe many objects in motion in our daily life. In some cases, objects move slowly, in others, they move fast. How do we know whether the motion is slow or fast? Let's find answer to this question by learning about speed and time from the lesson Motion and Time from class 7 Science in this session. Learning outcomes. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand about speed, measurement of time, units of time and speed, measuring speed, keywords, slow, fast, distance, the complete length of the path between any 2 points, time taken, pendulum, speedometer, a device used to measure the speed of a vehicle. Odometer, a device used to measure the distance moved by the vehicle. Before starting, let's look at the concept map of this session. We know that some vehicles move faster than others. Even the same vehicle may move faster or slower at different times. The distance moved by objects in a given interval of time can help us to decide which one is faster or slower. For example, imagine that you have started to a school on a bicycle and your friend started on a bus at the same time from a place. Suppose you start pedaling your bicycle at the same time as the bus begins to move. The distance covered by you after 5 minutes would be much smaller than that covered by the bus. We often say that the faster vehicle has a higher speed. In a 100-meter race, it is easy to decide whose speed is the highest. One who takes the shortest time to cover the distance of 100 meters has the highest speed. To compare how fast an object moves, we need to know its speed. In the examples given above, a higher speed seems to indicate that a larger distance is covered in a shorter time. The most convenient way to find out which of the object is moving faster is to compare the distance moved by them in a unit time. Thus, if we know the distance covered by 2 objects in 1 hour, we can tell which one is faster. We call the distance covered by an object in a unit time as the speed of the object. When we say that a car is moving at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, it implies that it will cover a distance of 50 kilometers in 1 hour. However, a car does not move at a constant speed for 1 hour. In fact, it starts moving slowly and then picks up speed. So, when we say that the car has a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, we usually consider only the total distance covered by it in 1 hour. We do not bother whether the car has been moving at a constant speed or not during that hour. The speed calculated here is the average speed of the car. We use the term speed for average speed. So, the speed is the total distance covered divided by the total time taken. Thus, speed is equal to total distance covered by total time taken. We can determine the speed of a given object once we can measure the time taken by it to cover a certain distance. Clocks or watches are the most common time measuring devices. The working of clocks make use of some periodic motion. One of the most well-known periodic motion is that of a simple pendulum. A simple pendulum consists of a small metallic ball or a piece of stone suspended from a rigid stand by a thread. The metallic ball is called the bob of the pendulum. The figure shows the pendulum at rest in its mean position. When the bob of the pendulum is released, after taking it slightly to one side, it begins to move to and fro. The to and fro motion of a simple pendulum is an example of a periodic or an oscillatory motion. The pendulum is said to have completed one oscillation when its bob, starting from its mean position O, moves to A to B and back to O. The pendulum also completes one oscillation when its bob moves from one extreme position A to other extreme position B and comes back to A. The time taken by the pendulum to complete one oscillation is called its time period. To measure the time period of the pendulum, we can use a stopwatch or a table clock or a wristwatch. Nowadays, most clocks or watches have an electric circuit with one or more cells. These clocks are called quartz clocks. The time measured by quartz clock is much more accurate than that by the clocks available earlier. The basic unit of time is a second. Its symbol is S. Larger units of time are minutes, MIN, and hours, H. Since the speed is distance by time, the basic unit of speed is meter per second. It can be expressed in other units such as meter per minute or kilometer per hour. Having learned how to measure time and distance, we can calculate the speed of an object. Let us find the speed of a ball moving along the ground. Draw a straight line on the ground with chalk and ask one of your friends to stand 1 to 2 meters away from it. Let your friend gently roll a ball along the ground in a direction perpendicular to the line. Note the time at the moment the ball crosses the line and also when it comes to rest. How much time does the ball take to come to rest? Measure the distance between the point at which the ball crosses the line and the point where it comes to rest. You can use a scale or a measuring tape. Once you know the speed of an object, you can find the distance moved by it in a given time. Distance is equal to speed into time. You can also find the time an object would take to cover a distance while moving at a given speed. Time taken is equal to distance by speed. You might have seen a meter fitted on top of a motorcycle, dashboards of cars, buses, and other vehicles. One of the meters has kilometer per hour written at one corner. This is called a speedometer. It records the speed directly in kilometer per hour. There is also another meter that measures the distance moved by the vehicle. This meter is known as an odometer. Points to remember. The distance moved by objects in a given interval of time can help us to decide which one is faster or slower. The distance covered by an object in a unit time is called the speed of the object. Speed is equal to total distance covered by total time taken. Clocks or watches are the most common time measuring devices. The basic unit of time is a second, S. The basic unit of speed is meter per second. Distance is equal to speed into time. Time taken is equal to distance by speed. A speedometer helps us know the speed of a vehicle. The odometer helps to measure the distance moved by the vehicle.